Time for the 49ers Rush Podcast. And here's your host, John Chapman.
What is going on, faithful? Today is a wonderful day. It is Tuesday, which means I am here with the legend, the man, Wayne Breezy. How are you, Wayne?
Biggie, can't you see? Sometimes your words just hypnotize me.
Man,
What's
you know what's
going on?
funny?
What?
So I'm a Spotify guy. I'm not an Apple Music dude. I'm much cooler than most people, right? So they got that new like DJ AI whatever, where it just like plays whatever. And so
Something
this morning,
Apple Music had for the past 3 years, but keep going.
dude, hold on. But I'm come on, man. Today started my morning off with a Biggie playlist. So I'm just saying, they're not always off, but we, or at least this guy, he's always on. This is gonna be a fun episode. And I love all the hashtag CCs. We're gonna be jumping into it. Look at this.
I love
Episode 823. They keep a track for us now. I love it. Thank you, Trainwreck. You are the best. Let's go. And man, we got people from all over the place. What's up, Colin? Sin. Here we go. So the whole context today, now we're going to get off task. We're going to get off whatever subject. It's what we do. But we want to go through and say, what are some of the players that you would be willing to trade up for? And I think Wayne and I are going to disagree, especially on some positions, which I like. I love learning and just seeing the different approaches. And that's what Wayne brings, is he knows his stuff, and we see things from different angles sometimes. And hopefully we can kind of figure some things out. So as we go through this episode, what's up, Sin? How you doing? I want everybody to start throwing some names out into the chat on if you would want to trade up for or not. Literally, you can just throw out a prospect's name. We'll throw it up on there. Wayne and I will say, yes, we would. No, we wouldn't. Things like that. So absolutely love it. Dude, this is what's up. Yatsik, my man, best day of the week. Love it. So,
Love it.
The 49ers are paying. Let me throw up their picks because, it's easy to say, trade up, but this is what we got. You got 3 picks in the third round, 99, 101, 102. Not everybody's going to be there when we pick. And I love everybody posting the mock drafts and sharing those things, but sometimes I see those names. And Wayne, do you have this feeling too where it's like, that cat ain't going to be there?
Yep.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of names, right? But then there's going to be some names that you're not expecting to be there, John. And that's where it gets interesting, because are they going to be on the 49ers big board? And so it's going to be really interesting to see how this draft falls in real life.
Yeah, 100%. We've already got names coming in. And some of these are the most common names, which I would say this is probably the number one name tied to, just everything. That's Blake Freeland, offensive tackle out of BYU. Fun player, fun film, not perfect. And I think a lot of people have bought into this idea that, man, if we got Blake Freeland, everything's fine. We're golden. I don't quite see it that way. He's got a lot of flaws to his game, but he is a perfect fit, no doubt about it. I have a second round grade on him. Would you trade up for him if he fell?
Hell yeah. You ain't got to ask me. This is the hell yeah. He's the most athletic tackle in the draft. And I keep telling on my shows, I'm talking about the 49ers keyword. The key word is athleticism. So they'll take flaws, but you can't teach athleticism. So either you got it or you don't. It's a trait. And this kid has it. I believe he can be taught the other things. He won't be a year one guy anyway. And so why not redshirt the kid, bring him in, let him learn? Hell, we drafted a tackle in the 4th round last year, and he was the damn starter. And nobody even thought that was going to happen. So this kid does have flaws, John. You do a hell of a job breaking down the film and showing us and highlighting the things that they need to work on, as well as pointing out their strengths. I think you are amazing with that. And that Book of John needs to be released very soon, ladies and gentlemen. The Book of John.
Friday. I know. Wayne's teaching me about branding. I'm not that cool.
Guys, you're going to want to get the Book of John. I promise you.
Friday. It's going to be up for every single Patreon member. And if you haven't signed up yet, that's cool. 7-day free trial. Friday, it's ridiculous. This is the largest we've ever gone, 300 plus draft profiles. We got a question here from Bro Montana, and it sticks with that tackle position. With McGlinchey gone and Trent possibly retiring soon, is it possible to go all in and trade up for Bergeron or Darnell Wright? The win now window with Hargraves signing seems possible now. Tackle's the concern. I think there are two highlighted positions, both of very, very high value position-wise across the NFL, and you just don't have the guys, and that's tackle and edge. So let's bracket it this way. What position do you think is the most important for the 49ers to address offensive tackle or edge?
See, I would go offensive tackle because the it just drops off after the first 5 guys. It's a big drop. And so if you're going to want to address that right tackle position, potentially switching over to the left tackle position once Trent Williams decides to call it quits and hang up the cleats, like this is a good time to do it because they're about I would say 3 to 6, maybe 3 to even 7 guys that can make that transition to both, and they don't even have to come in and start right away, especially at that left tackle because we already have Trent. So you can get these guys to come in, and you want to make sure that they're comfortable playing right tackle. And I feel like the younger guys, it's easier for them to make that switch right now than it is. And so I got about 3 to 7 different players that I feel like can come in here and be effective if they had to go day one and win the right tackle spot. So for me, it's that. But you know how I feel about the edge. Like I feel like it's super important. But I think it's a little deeper in edge in the draft class. So I feel like if you just want a speed guy, you get him later. You know what I mean? But if you want that tackle, there's about 3 to 7 guys that could possibly fit in. And Blake Freeland happens to be one of my guys, John. He just is. But I see people talking about Bergeron. Darnell Wright is probably the one tackle that you want. Like I think that's the guy you want. So you would have
He's huge. That dude is huge.
He's huge. He's quick. His footwork is good. He's strong. He gets low. He doesn't get beat up, up top. He doesn't allow these defenders to get up under him, even though he's a bigger guy. But he just seems like he'll come in. And I think that's the question mark with Blake Freeland. It's like, dude, like he kind of reminds you of, he's a better version of Mike McGlinchey. And so, like, that's what you get with Blake Freeland, but with way more athleticism, right? Because you want a guy that could get out in those zone runs. So that's why I like Blake Freeland. I feel like it won't really skip a beat in what the 49ers have planned. But again, John, there are a few guys I would trade up to go ahead and grab, and then you're set, I would say, for the next several years.
Yeah. Now, I'll say this, and I love these names that Bro Montana brought up because I have these guys back to back to back to back. I have Blake Freeland, I have a second-round grade on.
Nice.
The next tackle I have is Darnell Wright. I like Freeland more than Darnell Wright personally.
Really?
But I think I think Darnell Wright fits every scheme, power, zone, whatever.
Yes.
You're talking Blake Freeland, he's just zone guy.
Straight zone.
Yeah.
I have him as the best zone tackle fit for the 49ers in the draft. And you have to chalk it up to his athleticism. And a guy that we're not mentioning is Cody Mauch out of North Dakota State. So if you want the best overall offensive lineman, in my opinion, a guy that could come in here and play every position, all 5 of them, and probably play them well enough on the professional level, it will be Cody Mauch. And he's a mean guy too, right? Really cool kid, but when he plays football, is very mean. He's a little light at certain positions, but he still plays mean. I like Cody.
Am I crazy? I have Cody. I have him. He could play all 5 spots. I think guard's his best spot.
I think it is too.
And I think if the Niners drafted him, you'd put him at guard and kick
Spencer Burford back to tackle. He's the bigger body that can play with the footwork. And look, I agree with that. I agree with that, John. That's perfectly spot on. And so remember, we were talking about this, right? We were saying, what if we drafted a guy that still gave you versatility, but was stronger at one position? And the fact that you got the versatility with Spencer Burford, he can always go back to being a tackle. So that's cool. And it was cool that they got him in here and they made him learn how to play guard. I thought that was cool because I thought it would be harder to learn guard later on down his career. But the fact that he's got the guard season under his belt and the kid's already a natural tackle, it'll be an easy transition back to tackle.
I hope we get to see it. I really do at some point, just because the positional values more, right? Shout out to Jacqueline Knox. Thank you so much for the super chat. She says, "Hey, John and Wayne, have a great show." We will, because you're here, and we appreciate your positivity as always. I like positive people, Wayne.
Me too.
She is
I know
top of
you
the
do.
list. Yeah,
That's
I
your
do.
thing.
I like the funny thing is a lot of my like closest friends, maybe not so positive. Maybe not so positive.
But you're the radiant light
Hey man, we
of
gonna do what we gotta
positivity
do.
that you surround yourself, with. And so when you're in the group of us, you're that and then we're just like, okay, we gotta listen. Like,
There we
the light
go.
is shining.
Tommy, he says left tackle in the first round next season. Remember, next year we got a first, a second, 3 third rounders, a lot more draft capital next year. But, here's what I would like to do personally before we wrap up this tackle talk. I think that there's probably 4 guys, okay? Cody Mock, Blake Freeland, Darnell Wright, Matthew Bergeron. Those 4 guys. And if one of them falls, right? So you're just watching the board. All right, 1 tackle down, 2 tackles down, 3 tackles down. Now is the conversation time to go up. Because if you get one of those 4, I think I would be very, very excited about the future. And he doesn't even have to start. He doesn't even have to start. You still roll with Colton McKivitz and then work it in. Maybe you do something like what they were doing with Daniel Brunskill and Spencer Burford, this rotating series, whatever else. Like, man, I don't know. But those 4 guys, those are the ones you have highlighted for the tackle spot. Am I missing anybody else that stands out to you that you would be willing to trade up for?
Not that I would be willing to trade up for, but if those guys happen to just be taken and you didn't want to make that trade up and you start going to the next rounds, then I do have a tackle that I feel like would, especially the 49ers are looking to get a tackle. They got to bring in, I believe they're going to draft the tackle probably high. The 49ers like to draft in the trenches. With their first pick, they're going in the trenches with the 2 of those 3 picks. I can tell you that right now. And then the other pick's gonna be a running back.
I love it, man. I love it. Oh, what's up, Gammon Brown? Thank you so much for your contribution. This one goes to you, Wayne.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill is calling to quit his career over in 3 years once his contract's done. Chris Borland, he loved it, but he walked away. He called football an addiction. Patrick Willis hung up the cleats early. Do you think that's the same for Debo or Kittle?
Nah, I don't get that vibe for them now. I'm not getting a vibe. I'm watching Debo Samuel probably put in more work than I've ever seen him put in his entire career. I don't know if it's because of all the workout bonuses or whatnot. That'll be the incentive that make you do things, but he seems like he's out there. Brandon Ayuk is just trying to make everybody know that he's a top dog. I don't get that from him. Maybe Tyreek Hill is, he did that track thing in the offseason. He's a track star by nature, and maybe that's just another mark in life he wants to, try out, test out, and things like that. And so maybe he's not falling out of love with football, but while he's still young and he still has the ability to do other things, maybe that's why he's looking to call it quits in 3 years. He probably won't ever win a championship because he's not with the 49ers. But, hey, man, kudos to Tyreek Hill, man. Like, he's a dominant force of nature as a wide receiver. I don't see that with our guys. And I didn't even see that coming from Chris Borland. I'm going to be honest with you.
Nobody did.
He was a tackling machine, John, and then all of a sudden he just,
It was so fun. Oh, yeah. It was so fun. And he'd still be playing. He's
right. Right. We got it from Patrick Willis. I mean, the injuries, like you knew something was going to be coming up. I mean, he just didn't want to deal with the feet. The feet.
Yeah, I remember him saying, "When the feet left me,
feet left me.
Yeah, I can't run like
that
I used
was coming.
To."
Yeah,
yeah. And I'm seeing in the chat Barry Sanders, Megatron. That's because the Detroit organization's just dog trash. They literally made Megatron pay back his bonuses.
Really?
They made Calvin Johnson pay back part of his signing bonus.
I didn't know that they could do that. What a terrible contract. He needs a better agent.
Yeah, and they have them plastered all over their stadium.
I would never want to play for the Detroit Lions, yo.
Terrible, man. Just straight trash. It's weird because you're talking about 2 of the greatest talents ever in Barry Sanders and Megatron, and both wasted. Just wasted.
Yeah.
Anyway. Dog trash. I like it. Tommy likes that. So, okay, let's go now. Let's look at some other positions because I think edge is important. Okay. And man, there are so many. Edge always gets bumped up. A couple draft just break this. Things to remember. Edge, offensive tackle, quarterbacks always get pushed up.
Premier positions.
Always. Okay. Safeties, running backs, off-ball linebackers get pushed down. You can look at the money. You can look at the draft capital. You can look at whatever you want. That's just the reality of the situation. So here are all of my second round grades, which this will be available in the book of John. I don't know if I can say that.
You definitely
the NFL
can say
draft
that was dope.
I got a lot of them. Listen to these guys. Felix Uzama, K-State. Will McDonald, Iowa State. Derek Hall. That's a rush crush guy. I freaking love him so much. Byron Young, Tennessee. Nolan Smith, Georgia. BJ Ojulari. Kevin White. That is a lot of second-round edge players.
It's going to be a run.
There's going to be a run. And just because I have them in second grade, a lot of those guys are going first round. I have a second-round grade on them, but I don't have 32 first-round grades. Or I guess there's only 31 picks since Miami got caught cheating. But anyway, are there any names in that list where you're just like, go get them?
To move up for. Look, to me, out of all those guys, I mean, I don't know how Nolan Smith would fit. You have a second round grade on him. He's just a fast guy. Other than that,
super fast.
I don't know if that's the type of fast we want, but I do like Byron Young out of Tennessee. I feel like he's the perfect combination of fast as well as skill. And so he doesn't resemble D Ford, but I feel like you can kind of teach him how to play like D Ford. I mean, that's kind of what the 49ers would want. I just feel like, to me, Nolan Smith would fit more in a 3-4 defense, whereas Byron Young could come in his 4-3 and play defensive end. He can put his hand in the dirt, he can stand up, and so you can get speed on the other side opposite Nick Bosa, and then you could rotate those guys like him, Drake Jackson. Drake could be in on base downs. Armstead could be in on base downs. You got so many packages you could use with a guy like Byron Young. So if I had to trade up for any one of those guys, it would probably be Byron Young because his stock is rising. And so it is what it is. You know how it works. But I would go with Byron Young.
He's fun, man. Great story. And, I've got these three players lumped together, Nolan Smith, Byron Young, and Derek Hall. Derek Hall, like in my last mock draft that I did on here, Wayne, I traded up for him. I love this dude.
I met him and Byron Young. Real good guys. Yeah.
And so, what came across in your interview with these two cats, because I'm telling you right now, they're both starred as just amazing individuals who are great football players. Like, they're amazing off the field.
I think the first thing when I do my interviews, and I know I haven't posted stuff out there, I'm really weird. I'm really shy about stuff. I kind of like to keep stuff to myself, but
Wayne shy?
It's so weird because first of all, I'm out there, I'm nervous as shit, right? So I'm hella nervous, and so I want to make sure I don't ask a dumb question. But then I realize no questions are dumb questions, and so I just start off with the question that they probably will feel super comfortable answering. And once you do the food to workout question, like you give them one of those, they're all open to talk about anything. And then you get the football stuff coming out. You could test their football knowledge, but they spoke very well. There was one other player you didn't mention that I really want the 49ers to look into that I possibly would trade up for. And that's Will McDonald, the fourth out of Iowa State. Again, athletic. And so the key is, if that's the theme for the 49ers this year, which I just feel like it's athleticism, they're looking for athletic guys. John, when you do your breakdowns, look for guys with these athletic, freakish ability traits. They started it last year when they drafted Drake Jackson, and everybody was like, why is Drake Jackson the guy? Like, out of all the edge rushers, he wasn't the athletic guy, but he was the freakish athletic guy. A little different, right? He could do some things, man. You get a good 300-pound guy at that time doing backflips, there's something about that guy you need on your team, right? And so you saw it this year in his limited snaps, him being able to bat passes down, him getting his interceptions, just little things like, and so look for those type of guys. But Will McDonald's the guy that could jump over cars. I think that's something that they want. If he could jump over a car, he could jump over offensive line. Just let that sit in.
Reminds me of like dodgeball. If you can dodge a car, you can dodge a rich.
Right in the face. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Now, and, Seymour, he says, Brian Young's 25, Baez is, this is the new thing. Because of COVID, we're going to have this because every single player in all of college got one extra year of eligibility. So you've got 4 years of eligibility. You can redshirt 1 year. Then you got COVID. So you're getting a lot of these cats that are older. It's not necessarily a bad thing. 25, it's what it is. But you also got to look at his story. And that the Niners are huge on it. His story is incredible.
Incredible.
Literally bagging groceries, walked on, found a spot. These are people.
Junior college first, too. You know what I mean?
Gosh, man. I mean, incredible. Derek Hall. That dude was born 2 pounds. He was born 2 pounds.
Premature.
Like, he had to fight through so much. And so when you get these guys, football's great. And I love football. I mean, literally, football saved me. I don't share my story a lot on here, but I didn't grow up in the best situation. And the only thing that I really had going for me was football and girls. that was it. That was where I got my work ethic and all that kind of stuff. Like, that was important to me. And so for these guys, I don't know. It's easy to get behind these stories, which I really, really like. Another contribution from Gammon. What's up, man? He says, 49ers must use the 3rd rounder on a free safety. Ooh, I like this. Now, here's the thing that's interesting. What's our backup plan if Gibson is injured? So let's go through the safety depth chart. Then I know you, Wayne, you are big on safety this draft, right?
I'm big on safety this draft because there's some guys that I think would get pushed down that you can get.
Will.
And it's funny that Gammon brought this up because instead of me putting out the strong safeties and those guys, my guy is Sidney Brown, strong safety, can play free safety, better in the box, but can play deep as well. Like, instead of me focusing on those guys, I actually took a dive into the film of actual free safeties, the guys that play deeper down the field. And so I got 5 guys that I feel like that might just be there, period, to where they don't even have to draft in the 3rd round. So I like that he put this up there. But again, if there is a player that is in the 3rd round smacking you in the face, you have 3 picks. I agree with Gammon. Get one of those safeties. Don't wait till later, even though that's the 49ers' MO.
It is. Now, if we look at the depth chart that the 49ers currently have, right, you've got Huff, you've got Gibson. Those are your starters. Mm-hmm. After that, it gets rough. That's just what you got. Odom.
And you got Taylor Hawkins.
Yeah, Taylor Hawkins.
That's it.
That's it. So you got to get somebody. And, we saw the 49ers do this in 2021 whenever it was Tartt's last year, 1-year deal. Then they spent a 5th-round pick on Huff. He took starter snaps away from midpoint of the year. Then they rode at the playoffs with with Tartt. The major dropped interception. I don't think that's the reason they lost, but it's one of the compounding reasons why they lost. They move on afterwards. Could you see that formula again? So here we go. Let's talk some of these names. Sidney Brown's incredible.
Yeah, man. That's my number 1 safety, period. I don't care if he play in the box.
Don't care.
He's just my guy. That's the guy. That's
freak athleticism, can do everything. You watch his tape, it looks like Hufanga.
It looks like Hufanga. I would trade up to get him, though.
But a better athlete, yeah.
But so if safety was the need, see, that's the thing. The 49ers don't need to address the position. Like, so that's the issue. Like, they don't need. But if this guy who should be going early 2nd round,
it's a playmaker, man.
If he's there, you want to talk about interceptions, that's what he does. And then look at his pick sixes, too. Like, this is what he does. Now, if he's smacking you at 99 and you pass over that, John, I'm going to have some questions about the front office, bro.
They just don't care about certain positions. And, Illinois is funny because they've got a lot of cats. Devin Witherspoon, 1st-round pick. They've got – and I'm trying my hardest to watch these other guys. They're going to have 4 defensive backs get drafted this year.
I want Martin and I want him. I don't know how that could happen, but that's what I want. I'm sorry, that's what I want, but I pay to get what I want. I want what I want. That's what I want.
I love it, man. But it don't matter who I'm watching on that defense. You can't stop watching Sidney Brown. He just pops, man. He just pops. Yeah. He's fun. So I would trade up for him. What about your man, Jamie Robinson?
Another guy. So that's a nice
Florida State.
Yeah, another strong safety-ish kind of a player, could also play free. Again, a tweener guy. A bit of a playmaker. He's a bit of a playmaking ability in him, Florida State kid. But again, there's some other guys that I started watching film on that just pop out more to me than Jamie Robinson. So, like, there's a couple of other guys. Like, listen, I know you guys haven't heard of an Anthony Johnson Jr., but check Anthony Johnson Jr. out. That's another guy. You want a guy that's
he
a
met with the
playmaker?
49ers.
I didn't know he met. I didn't know that. Don't tell me that. That's a guy.
Virginia, right?
Not the Virginia one, the other one.
There's two of them.
The one from Iowa State.
So Anthony Johnson from Virginia is more of a corner. He met with the Niners.
Yes.
The other one, I don't believe that he has.
Okay. So the safety didn't. So check him out. You want a Jimmy Ward type of player that actually can get interceptions? That was a shot at Jimmy. My bad. But that's what he does. He's a playmaking safety and free safety. Jordan Howden out of Minnesota, another player. So there are a ton of them out there that you don't have to necessarily trade up for. So if the story is right, like John is saying, we definitely don't value this position high. Why? Because safety is a safety position. They feel like they don't need a guy that is just top of the cream of the crop at this position.
Pick up at the scrap heap. And we missed one. Tobias, thank you. He says, you forgot my new guy, Miles Hartsfield from Panthers. He can play everywhere. Well, I don't know what he's going to be. He's the new Dante Johnson role where he can be outside, nickel, safety, box, special team. So, yes, he could definitely play that role. And also, on top of that, Isaiah Oliver was starting safety a few games just last year for the Falcons.
Yeah.
So, like, man, you've got guys, Quantrez Knight, I think, can play safety. There's bodies, but are there perfect fits? And one of my issues with Kyle Shanahan I love Kyle, but we do play players out of position. And it's rare to find a true free safety, as Wayne talked about earlier. But there are guys in this draft at all different levels that are legitimate free safeties. And that's why I like Jartavius from Illinois.
All right. So Daniel Scott is another one. And Jartavius Martin. I think those would be my top two guys. If you're looking for a free safety. And if you look at Daniel Scott, he has the highest RAS score, right? So that means that this kid is hella athletic. He's hella smart. And he's just he's a ball hawk, man. He's a playmaker back there. Kid from Cal. I believe that's where he's from. What's going on, Crazy Juice?
He's going to be at the 49ers local pro day playing, and the Niners met with him.
That's on tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so, look, I'm telling you guys, there are some players out there. Again, we don't understand why the 49ers just don't value this position. But listen, it's hit or miss with them, right? They drafted Talanoa Hufanga in the 5th round. It was a hit. They tried to get an undrafted guy last year, and Leon O'Neal Jr. It was a big miss, right?
But if you miss on that, who can right?
Because it's undrafted. But the 49ers, they're trying to hit. They don't care where they draft at. Undrafted, they're trying to hit on those guys too. But if you do miss on an undrafted guy, you could kind of like wipe it. It didn't cost you a draft pick; just cost you a little money. So
I wonder if he is anywhere. I don't think he landed anywhere.
Not
because I remember he was one of the first ones cut, and then he kind of talked trash against the Niners on his social media after that, and it was like
that'll get you blackballed from the league.
Yeah, that stuff. If you're a top end player, you could do that stuff, but if you're not, that's what it is. Tony says Christopher Smith. I love the athleticism of the Georgia guy. Mm-hmm. Speed's not really there, but again, Niners don't have speed at the safety position currently. He says Christopher Smith, Jartavius Martin, Anthony Johnson, Daniel Scott. Daniel Scott's film really frustrated me. His film, like the testing's there, the background's there, the smarts are there, the body's there. The film is frustrating, especially in regards to the run game. But if you're going to put him at that free spot and he's just going to hover over the top, that might be perfect for him. And look at this, Brian Carter. Real quick announcement. I'm going to have the man Brian Carter on the show tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific time. He's been working with us on the draft work, and so we're going to go over some of his favorite players that have jumped out. He's been killing it, man. So his information is going to be included in our draft book as well. That's going to be fun. All right, let's transition. Eddie, in the words of Mo's Nose, this corner class is lovely. There are options for the 49ers there. I just finished grading out all of my corners. I did 32 of those bad boys. And, corner tape is fun, man. There's some fun ones. There are some fun corners. Now, let's talk about this, Wayne. Is there a need at corner for the 49ers?
I don't think there's a need. But Now, I don't think there's a need at it. There's a need at that position. Look, you could trade up for a guy, but who are you trading up for? You have your corners, right? You have your lockdown corners. You have your one and your two. If anything, if you're drafting a corner, you're looking for a guy that could kind of come in here and test out at that nickel spot. Again, that's why I like drafting Jartavius Martin because he can play the nickel. If you're not using him at safety, he'll play the nickel just as well. He has the size, the speed, the body type for that. So that's kind of why I kind of have him circled on my list because he can play both. If you're gonna look later on down the road, there's that kid, the safety or linebacker who can also play from what is he from? Marte Mapu, I believe. I can't remember what school
Yeah,
he's
I saw he got brought up, the linebacker from Sac State.
from Sac
right?
State. That's the school.
I haven't written him up, but the Niners have met with him. He's going to be at the pro day. There's
Look
a
at this
lot
guy.
there.
I
Yeah,
didn't
this
even know that
guy, I
was
love
there.
it. And so I'm going to be honest. I've done 300 players. Didn't do this cat.
Yeah.
We're not even drafted 300 players,
Right.
but there's guys that are always going to be missed. I need to go back if I have time before Friday. I need to add them in. I need to do a lot of work there because the Niners seem to really, really like them. But yeah, I'm not for trading up on a corner prospect, but there's a lot of them, man. Your boy DJ Turner, he
DJ
is
Turner,
fun.
Michigan. Yeah, fun, fast, and smart.
Gosh.
I think that's what you get from this kid, right? Kind of smaller corner, but definitely has the speed, the closeout speed. I think is what's really cool. So even if you think you got to step on him, I don't know, he hits a button, Nas baby, and then he breaks up those passes. Really fun guy. You can go with the big kid out of Purdue, Corey Trice, I think that's his name. 6'3", more of a press man type of a guy, kind of like your a la Richard Sherman. You know what I'm saying? It's like, dude, is that what Steve Wilkes is looking for? It all comes down to guys what Steve Wilkes wants. And so if you're looking at corners, my theory is to go and look at some of the players Steve Wilkes has coached at the corner position. That's why even at the safety position, like I like the kid like Brandon Hill from Pitt. I like those guys. Gives me Sean Taylor vibes.
Ooh.
I'm just saying, big hitter, hard hitter, playmaking guy, can catch interceptions as well and take them to the house. Like, look for those type of players. That's why I keep saying, like, all these guys that we're seeing up front and these flashy guys, they might not be the dudes. Look for the dudes that kind of fit a Steve Wilkes defense and not a D'Amico Ryans defense. Believe me, they're different.
Longer corners, longer. And so we'll see that. Look at Greg. It says Mekhi Gardner in round 7. Wilkes zone heavy. I've got a 5th round grade on Mekhi Gardner out of LSU. So, and that's the thing. Like, it's all about fits because you watch some of these tapes and they just play press man, which Niners love press man corners in college. They just don't ask them to do it for us at the level. But now it's different. Now we got different DC. How much is that going to change? We don't know. How much is Wilkes' fingerprint going to be on this draft? We'll see. But, man, you look at the corner depth. We've got corners. We've got corners, man.
We do have the depth at the corners. I mean, I know a lot of people wrote off Ambry Thomas, but he's the backup to Demo right now. And it's going to be interesting to see how these guys come into camp this year. This will be year 3 for him. Let's see how he comes into camp. He's going to come into camp. He's going to get a shot. Let's see if he makes it out of camp. Now, Trey Sermon was last year, the last year cut. Will it be Ambry Thomas this year? Same round, right? Same round. Comp pick guy. We'll see what happens, man. But they have depth at the corner position.
Right. Yeah, I think that's key. And again, like, I don't have everybody. Somebody just asked me, what was your grade for Thomas? Here we go. Or Terrell Smith, the cornerback, the 49ers. Yeah, I did 32 corners. He wasn't one of them. Now, again, I'm missing on guys. You know, there will be 30 corners drafted, and then undrafted free agents, all that. Doesn't mean I don't think that he's great. I just haven't done him. Time, unfortunately, is the beast. It's what it is. But yeah, man, thank you. Quantrez Knight, baby. That dude, I want to see him play. I want to see him play.
He'll definitely get his shot. He'll get his shot.
All right. Now let's do this. I tweeted out a picture last night, a meme. You a Stranger Things guy?
I'm a Stranger Things guy.
where the brother is crying in the car on the last season because he's like
Yes.
in love with the dude and he's in love with the sister and whatever
Sister.
else.
Yep.
So I tweeted that out and said, when the 49ers draft another third-round running back, this is how the faithful are going to react. You have been on this boat since the start that the Niners are drafting a running back.
I'm alone on the boat. It's lonely.
Let's push
out
it.
there.
Let's
Okay.
push it.
Let's push it.
Would you trade up? Let's say Zach Charbonnet or Tajay Spears is sitting there at 85. We picked 99. Would you trade up for a running back?
I wouldn't trade up for a running back. I let the running back fall to me. I wouldn't trade up because there's several running backs. So for me, I talked about athleticism being the key, right? Now add speed to that equation. And so for me, I want the athletic running back. That's a Charbonnet. That's these guys. That's a Tajay Spears. You're going to get the athleticism, but you're not going to get that speed element. And I feel like we have those guys. And so what type of player would make my running back room a little bit more unique? We're missing Mostert's speed. We're even missing Breida's speed, right? The speediest guy we have is Elijah Mitchell. And I feel like he's not that fast in football speed, right? He's not that fast in football speed. And so what are we missing? And so then you got to start looking at like the kid, Devon A-Chain from Texas A&M has speed.
Super speed.
There's a kid out of Eastern Carolina.
Mitchell.
Mitchell, yes. And then nobody's talking about this kid from Pitt, but he has 49ers screamed all over him. We're talking about Abanaconda.
Israel, yeah.
Israel. Izzy Abanaconda. That's the 49er. That's the guy. 4.3 speed, can catch out of the backfield. He gets ghost.
Yeah,
no power.
I think there's just so many guys there. There's so many guys there that are just fits. If you are a running back and could pick any team to go to, half these cats are picking the 49ers. Everybody wants to go there.
Yeah, because it's the way that they're utilized, right? They're not going to – listen, if you're a running back – now, I remember the old school running backs. No one wanted another running back to be competition. But today's football is different because if you're a running back, you want to go to the 49ers. A, you don't have to be a bell cow, right? 2, you just got to get in where you can fit in. It's almost like, what can I add to my game? Number 1, I better not fumble the ball. Number 2, I better be able to pass protect. And number 3, I better be able to catch. Them the 3 elements you need as a 49ers running back. You do those 3 things, you're going to get looked at. Bobby Turner knows what he wants. I know people feel like we have this speed. CMC ain't it. I don't care what y'all say. I don't care how fast CMC is to y'all. He ain't fast to me. I watched him get tackled from behind a couple times last year. That's speed. That's
CMC
speed.
never was the top end speed guy. He was the acceleration guy.
And so
I feel like he gets to the 4th gear quick. I don't think he's ever really had the quote unquote 6th gear. I mean, he's an absolute beast.
Mm-hmm.
But here we go. I'll pull up. What was I don't remember his 40 time. I know it was 4.4 something.
It was 4.4 something. It was close to Deebo Samuel's, I believe. But they're still different. Have you ever noticed?
4.48.
Yeah, and Deebo was what 4.47.
Yeah, like so. It's fast. Don't get me wrong.
It's not.
But it's not top end.
Running back speed is different than a Deebo. I can't explain it. Look at Deebo. It's a different gear. At his 4.47, they're super.
And again,
identical.
it's acceleration versus the top end speed. Some guys are just quick bursts and they get there quick,
right?
But they don't have that top end speed, that track speed. And we're not saying Christian McCaffrey's slow. He's not slow, but he's not a burner. He's not a burner.
It's nothing wrong with that, right? It's nothing wrong with him not being a burner. Here's the thing: Kyle Shanahan's plays. I swear to goodness, y'all, they home run plays. And so a lot of his plays, if the line blocks the way it's supposed to be, like it was written, like Nas said, if the line blocks like everybody's supposed to, it's a touchdown if the running back can make the one cut, hit the gear, and be ghost. End of discussion. Remember Mostert? Remember Breida? You guys, we don't have a running back on this roster that has those type of one-cut speeds. And that's fair to say. Like, we just don't have it. There's nothing wrong with Mitchell's and CMC speed. But imagine if some of those runs where they got through the middle quick and all they had to do is beat out one guy by making the cut, there's no safety that can catch them. And
you remember the Jets game where it was like the second play of the game, Mostert goes like 70 yards?
70 yards. 76,
and it was
wasn't
just like, Yeah, it was like he would have scored in flag football. Like nobody even got close to him.
But that's what I mean. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, we have speed. And I get it. We do have speed. We just don't have ludicrous speed.
Yeah. Tommy says watching CMC truck Raider defenders is pure gold.
Now,
man,
see,
he had a
different.
game. That was a fun game. And yeah, CMC is unbelievable. I think he's a top 2 running back in this league.
Yeah.
But I do agree with Wayne. His top end speed's not elite. That doesn't mean he's not great. It's just there's one constant thing that is missing from this running back group, and that is just pure speed. The need for speed.
Speed. That was the worst freaking movie I've ever seen.
It was the best game. It was the best game. PlayStation
Especially the
2
version where
took all of your memory.
Yes. Especially when they did like the our cars, like the Hondas and those cars, like, and you could soup them up. That's when it got dope.
That was fun, man. Yeah. That was fun. Gammon, thank you for the chat. He says, a few teams have multiple first-rounders. Should 49ers consider trading Bosa and drafting 2 edges with those ones save money?
Hell no.
No, you're going to be able to extend Brandon Ayuk, the second part of your question, and Bosa. They're going to be just fine. No, you keep the best defensive player in the league whenever you get them. I do like it. Now, here's a question. Let's get rough. This is from Trainwreck.
Okay.
There we go. What about taking Hunter in the back end to fill in for Juice, just not in the third? Okay, so he's talking about Hunter Lepke, who's from North Dakota State, teammate of Trey Lance. He is awesome, man. I have a 6th-round grade on him. He is fun.
He's another Swiss Army knife.
Now, the question is this, Wayne. You have an out next year on Kyle Juszczyk's contract. At what point, I'm not saying it's this year, but at what point is it time to say, maybe it's time to find a replacement that's way cheaper? You're paying over $5 million a year for him, which I think he's worth. But the juice is going to run out eventually. Are we at that point yet where we draft him, allow Kyle Juszczyk to have his last year, then move on?
That's why they brought Ross Dwelly back. They're going to give Juice some plays off. And I think we're going to start to see a little bit of more spelling from Ross Dwelly, who is the spellback, right? So he's the guy that comes in. He's able to line up at fullback in the backfield. I think we're going to get a little bit more of him if he makes this roster, which I do believe, because he is essentially the best version, the backup fullback to Kyle Juszczyk. To answer your question, the juice isn't gone. The juice is still there, and you want to juice the juice until the juice is gone, baby. I'm telling
every
you.
Last strip.
Every last drip. You know what I'm saying? And so listen, and you know what? What Juice brings to this team is uncanny, right? Like, I don't think there's anybody else in the league that can do what Juice does, and I wouldn't be surprised if Juice doesn't retire a 49er.
Yeah. Juice is extended through 2025. Yeah, but there's an option out. You are correct. He is extended through that time, but you can move on relatively cheaply. I think it's like $1 million dead money after this year. I don't want to do that. But that is there. Now, there is one tight end, man. I've been watching so much Michigan film, and every time I'm like, God dang it, Wayne. I think he is a great fullback. He's great. He's a tight end. But he could do it just fine.
That's why I said, who is the person that I mentioned backing up?
I don't like it when Wayne's right about Michigan players.
But I know. But who is the person that I said? I said Ross Dwelly, if he makes the roster. I said that. Now, if you go out and get a Schoonmaker who can be that spell back in that backfield, who can line up at fullback.
He blocks well in the open
really
field.
well in the run blocking game, who can also catch passes. Not a good route. Well, I take that back. Good route runner, not a good yak guy. He's just a guy that's going to catch the damn ball, get down and keep it merry, keep chains moving. He's a chain moving guy. He's not going to be a guy that's going to catch the ball and do what George Kittle does. That's not his game. He's not a guy that's looking for contact. Not his game. He's a guy that's going to find the ball, has nice hands, going to come down with the ball and call it a day. He got injured last year, which diminished his value good enough to where the 49ers can draft him. The question that John is probably going to ask me without me even knowing what the question is if he's there in the 3rd round, do you go tight end? And I like Schoonmaker. There are other tight ends that I like.
Yeah, I got a 4th on him. I have a 4th round grade on him.
But you got to think what his value would be for the 49ers. First thing a tight end has to be able to do is what, John?
Yeah, you got to block first.
Got to block first.
He blocks well, consistently. Now, he doesn't kill people, but, man, it's hard to find a bad rep ever in anything. Like, he
solid,
just does the work.
He's so solid.
It's not Kittle. Solid. He's not flexing on people. He's not getting. He got a couple pancakes though. But solid. I do like him. Which is better? I like Josh Weil.
I like Weil. You like Weil better? I like Schoonmaker better.
For me.
Weil from Cincinnati. That's who you guys are talking about.
That's where the yak comes in. That's what shot it up.
But do we need two? I mean, I know we're built off a yak, but do you need another yak guy? Or do you want a guy that can move
I think he's meaner than Schoonmaker. I think his yak is better.
Definitely.
He's not as consistent a blocker though, right? So what do you want? You just said, like, don't we already have that? We kind of do. Man, those big plays, man, from Weil. He creates.
He's a nice guy. I mean, you could get him. You probably got a 5th round grade on him, if not, but maybe.
I got a Weil on 3rd. I got 3rd on Weil.
Schoonmaker.
I haven't seen anybody else as high on Weil as me.
Wow.
He's a rush crush guy. I wouldn't trade up for him, but if he's sitting there in the 3rd round, the problem is his tight end class is just so damn good. You look at the 5th round, Davis Allen, Will Mallory. I would love either of those guys. You go into the 6th round. Somebody put into the chat. I missed it.
I know people think Weil is better than Schoonmaker, but you have to go back and watch not this year's Michigan games. Go back and watch the year before when Ronnie Bell was injured and Schoonmaker was like the guy. Like, you have to go back and watch that year. He was injured this past year, so he was limited a lot. I know you got to see a lot of Weil, but go watch 2021 version of Schoonmaker, and then you'll understand where I'm coming from with this.
And, man, there's so many good tight ends. Cameron Latu, Alabama, I got a 6th round. Braden Willis, OU, 6th round. There's guys.
You know what I like about Braden Willis? He get open.
Yeah. So my question to you is this. Trade up. Is there a guy that you would trade up for?
No, because I take that back. Sam Laporta would probably be the one tight end.
Iowa. It is written.
It is written. What am I saying? Sam Laporta would be the guy that I would trade up for.
Yeah, I've got him. He is my 3rd tight end in this class. I got Michael Mayer, Darnell Washington, Georgia, then Sam Laporta.
Darnell Washington. If he can fall.
He ain't falling. It's too unrealistic with those traits. It just doesn't make sense.
What a combine, bro.
Yeah.
Didn't he have the one-handed catch going out of bounds? And people were like, what, the blood clot? I was like, yeah, man.
You just see him, and it's like, that guy different. Like, he's the first guy to get off the bus, right? We would do that whenever we were loading the bus on away games. Like, we would say, all right, everybody sit with your position groups, whatever else. And then when we're getting off the bus, like, we knew, all right, you guys this seat, then that seat, then this seat, then everybody else follow. Like, you're sending out the big old bad man pajamas. It's just what we did. Coming out of the locker room, same thing. Like, you do everything you can. We did have a trade, which trades are fun in the NFL. Jeffrey Okudah, the former 3rd round pick, got traded. Now, from the Detroit Lions to the Atlanta Falcons. I thought this was a great trade. Now, anytime a transaction takes place, I get a bunch of DMs and emails. Why didn't the 49ers do this? Well, Joe has the question 49ers should have gotten them. This was a $5.1 million cap hit you're getting. So not only are you losing a 5th round pick, you're taking $5.1 million. Niners don't have that. They don't have it. So they could have restructured and then done that. But this is a rookie deal. Somebody's got to take that cap hit. Niners took it. Falcons took it. I don't think the Niners could have. And if you did get Okudah, where is he going? Who's he starting over? I'm not putting him over any of our guys. Like, the Falcons secondary lost Isaiah Oliver. He's kind of going into that role and is way more expensive.
I like Okudah. Thought he was great coming out of the Ohio State. I hate saying that damn school names, but yeah, like, he was good coming out of college.
I'm proud of you.
And thank you. And he just didn't translate well. I mean, different coordinators out there in Detroit. I believe he got injured one season where he dealt with injuries. It's just unfortunate from Jeff Okudah, but hey, he's getting a fresh start in Atlanta, and kudos to him. He's probably going to play a lot better out there. And he, what the thing about the NFL is, like, you get drafted high, and then once they figure out like this guy's coming in to replace you, man, unless you're a quarterback, you don't get as many chances. Like, you know what I mean? And so Okudah's probably going to be a problem. But listen, Greg Newsome from Cleveland is demanding a trade. Now, that's something we might want to entertain. Now, I wouldn't mind starting Newsome over over Demo, but
move Demo inside.
Move Demo to the slot.
Demo's playing.
I never said take him off the field. That ain't what I said.
I would take him over Isaiah Oliver considerably.
I don't care about anybody else. You get Newsome and Demo easily slides back into that spot. Now we got good depth.
Oh, I love it. Look at this Truth Serum. He says, I'm in the Dominican Republic right now, sharing you fellas Niners stand. I love it, dude. Love it, man. Absolutely
DR,
incredible. Let's see here. Question from Eddie. He says, where do you think the Niners draft a linebacker? Ask Breezy how to say the linebacker's name from Alabama. I ain't even playing.
Oh, Henry to Henry, how do you, let me see this? Let me see it. Damn it!
I can't, man.
It's too many tutus.
020. I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Henry
I can't say
020.
my own name.
Well, Eddie, you say it. Shoot. You know,
he's gonna type it. I'm not a big guy. I don't think there's a need at linebacker for the 49ers personally. I don't know how the linebacker makes this roster. So I would say 6th round earliest if you want to take a special teamer. But again, depth chart. Warner, Greenlaw, Oren Burks is my number 3. I've been adamant on that. But if he's not, Curtis Robinson made the roster last year. Yeah. Marcelino Mercari Ball, largest signing bonus of all the undrafted free agents the year before. Like, you've got guys, DFF. There's a lot of cats there. People
keep sleeping on my boy McCrary Ball, but I just feel like he's got a story to tell, and it's getting that 1-year deal. He's gonna show up and show out. Just got a good feeling.
Look at Buckeye. No.
That is so dope, Buckeye.
Is that how you say it?
No.
There's no N.
Huh?
Oh, but it's the Tongan where the N doesn't. It's like Tua Tonga Vailoa. Like it's Tong. There's the N in there, even though there's no N because the phonetics don't match.
Oh, see, that's why I never say Tongan. That's
Tua
why I can never
Vailoa.
Tonga Vailoa.
There we go. Yeah.
That's why I can never say his name right because there's
I could be wrong.
The N is missing. No.
Now, before we get out of here, there's a couple more things that we got to.
Peachy dead wrong.
Yeah, she is. She's the best there is.
Yatsic. She's such a basketball. She will put it out there, I tell you.
She's the best, man. Yatsic says, given how much you value the position, the 49ers must draft a kicker, period, correct? Do you agree?
It's all right. I disagree. Do I want us to draft a kicker? Yes, but I disagree because it all depends on the kickers that fall. And I feel like there are 4 kickers in this draft that just may not get drafted, and the 49ers will get their shot. Now, I'm not sure how undrafted works. I don't know if it's the first team that calls the player.
It's wherever the player wants to go. He gets to pick.
Oh, they get to pick.
Team offers, yeah.
Thank you. And so that's how it works. And I think the 49ers may just shoot their shot if there are no kickers taken. Now, if they start to see a run, let's say they got 4 kickers, and 2 out of their 4 kickers kind of go 5th round, 6th round. They may draft their kicker in that 7th round with the first pick.
There we go. Look at Tony. He says he went by To'o when I went to school with him. What's up, Tony? I love it, man. We got insider information here.
Hey, man, that's what's up, man. Ask him if he want to be on our show and be a 49, talk 49.
Yeah, help us out, man. Help us out. Now, we got to talk about your guy because
I don't know why people don't like this kid, John.
I love him, but I think you love him more than I do, and I thought I loved him more than everybody.
Yo, when I responded to your tweet, you gave me the what the you talking about, Willis response.
So here's what happens, okay? Let's talk about Tank Dell. Niners have met with him. Nathaniel Tank Dell. Tiny. Little 5'8". I mean, he's small, but
he's my height.
I got him as a rush crush. I have a 2nd round grade on him.
Rush crush? Really?
Rush crush, yeah.
Oh, you got to stop stealing my prospects, John. Don't steal your prospects. Wait till I get the book of John, bro. It's on.
We can like the same guys. Same guys.
You're right.
5'8", 165. I have a 2nd round grade on. I loved him. Where does he fit for you? Be real. Don't hold back now.
He may jump into the 1st round, dog. Like he may jump into the 1st round. Look, the issue with him is his weight. Now, I don't know how football work. I don't know how many pounds they could put on without losing speed and things. I don't know. What I do know is he gets open on every single rep. There's not one rep where he can't get open. I don't care if you line him up outside, inside, outside, inside, backfield, outside, inside. It doesn't matter. Wherever he lines up, he knows how to get open. 49ers get this kid for year 2 where he could put on some more weight, learn how to block as a wide receiver in the NFL. OMG. You say thank you, Ray McCloud, for your services. You have just filled in your new slot guy who can also split out wide. Can you imagine Tank, Debo, Brandon Ayuk, Danny Gray? Ugh.
I like him outside. He's
That's
the
funny.
most fun guy to watch. And usually, like, okay, Kyle Shanahan's been, he's been asked this a lot. What makes the number one wide receiver? What makes that X, whatever? Somebody that can press the field deep and can survive through press coverage. Like, that's it. You do those two things, you're an outside wide receiver. Now, usually it's because you're large and strong and whatever. This guy, nobody can touch him. Nobody can touch him. You watch him at the Senior Bowl. Cats falling all over themselves on the outside against press. Nobody can touch this guy. Mighty Mouse.
There it is.
Incredible.
And it's funny you brought up Mighty Mouse because here's my thing. If you ever play Madden, okay, and it's that time of the season where you get those midget players and then the very large players, he one of the midgets that you just, no matter how small he is, he's still strong. So like you're not gonna touch him, and if you do touch him, he's gonna knock you off of him. That's who Tank Dell is. So will the 165 set him back a little bit? Probably. Teams may be a little leery. Like teams like the 49ers may be a little leery to draft him, but they met with him for a reason. It wasn't just to fill a quota. Like this kid can get open, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, get open.
Last year, not this year, they played against Auburn in the bowl game. Houston did against Auburn. 10 catches, 150 yards. Like, that's SEC, right? Auburn, no chumps. And again, it doesn't matter who he plays against. His best competition are his best games. And so I understand that he is a physical anomaly, but at some point you turn the damn tape on. And when the tape is consistently this good, I don't know, man. So here's my question. Niners are sitting there. Pick 75 is on. And Tank Dell is sitting there. Are you trade up for this guy?
I would trade up for a piece that's going to be a difference maker.
He is that.
I think the cool thing about the 49ers, I don't know if you noticed this, John, but they're not afraid to load up with weapons. They traded midseason for a weapon, and so you can draft a weapon, so they might as well trade up to get him. I said that he was my number one wide receiver. That doesn't mean he's the best receiver in the draft, but when you're thinking about for the 49ers, what he can come in here and do, day one, there's not much that he has to learn, like other than language. I think he resonates out there on the football field. You'll see it. I see Trainwreck says I'll lose it if he goes to the Chiefs. He is Chiefs all over, like Tyreek Hill vibes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
His acceleration's nuts. I mean, it's some of the best acceleration,
though, but he can get open.
He ran a 4.49, which was bad. That's not great, but his acceleration's top 93 percentile of all wide receivers. Like, it's just
great
burst.
Footwork, and I wouldn't be surprised on his spider chart if his catch radius is pretty damn big.
Yeah. He's fun, man. I like him. And everybody going to throw out, the Antonio Brown reference.
That was me.
And like, I get it because the body type's similar. He wins similarly. His routes are similar. His hand. You watch him on contested catches. That's what baffles me. He's the best deep threat in the draft. Like, he's the best deep threat in the draft. Nobody can run with this guy. But the contested catches over the middle and comeback routes, that's where it's just like, what the hell? He reminds me of like Muggsy Bogues playing NBA Jam. Does that make sense? Where he jumps up like super high.
He's a monster.
Yes. Anyway, we got our Muggsy Bogues reference. We got our dodgeball reference. I think we're good. I think we hit all cylinders today.
No cap. I couldn't stand the Charlotte Hornets, but man, did I love them when they had Bogues, Morning, and freaking Grandmama. Just saying.
Everybody did.
And the colors was dope. You know what I mean?
Charlotte Hornets, that was fire, man. Yeah. One of the coolest jerseys, right? Everybody you had the Grandmama commercials.
Grandmama, bro.
Larry Johnson. Alonzo Moore. I was a big Morning fan.
I
was a big Morning fan. Yeah. But back in those days, I was hardcore on Penny. The shoes. I I was big on that. And the Mavericks were trash. Mavericks are trash now. I saw you, Peachy. I didn't want to put it out there, but
that was a shot. That was a shot fired.
Yeah, it hurt. It hurt. It hurt.
Her team's playing in the play-in tonight, so that was a shot fired.
Best of luck. That's all right. All right, so that's gonna do it for us here. Great show, Wayne.
Great
and
show.
I'm on your show this week. Is that correct?
Yeah, on Friday. I can't wait to recap because now you're going to give us your top 5 players at every position. So this is going to be really fun. So you got to go through all the positions. All I'm going to do is say thank y'all for watching and let John go.
So I'm excited because I've done every position vertically, like stacking them vertically.
Perfect.
I just have safeties left, and that's what I'm doing the next 2 days is just safety film.
Just have it done by Friday, bro. The Book of John will be released on my show. I can tell you
there
that
we go.
Now.
I love it, man. I love it. All right, guys. Thank you so much for everything. This has been fun. Wayne, you're the best that there is. And, man, this flew by, didn't it?
It does because you're just the greatest host in the damn world. The thing is, I don't know what the hell we talking about until we hit record, and then I just got to make shit up as we go along. So it's perfect.
All good times, man. You're the best, Wayne. All right, until next time, join me on Wayne's show. Go follow in the description of this video, audio, whatever. It's right there, top of the line. Go hit subscribe. That's number one thing. And until then, stay strong, faithful.